that was not fun. That really scared me a little bit. Alan was really worried. He was on the verge of calling an ambulance. Hey adventurer, I'm Bridget Hallam from Throw Your Leg Over, and it is hot. So today I'm going to be talking about how to stay cool on these hot summer days. And by the end of this episode, you'll have some easy tips that you can use straight away on your next summer ride when the roads are hot and the air is hot and everything is hot. Because it's really not fun when it is very hot. Like, it's uncomfortable, first of all. And I'm sure Alan can attest that I sometimes get a bit irritable when it is hot. You know, the heat can sap your energy, and it does become a bit of a risk because you can lose focus and become dehydrated. It can get really serious when you get heat stress, and if that develops into heat stroke, that can kill you. So whilst this is like an easy topic to talk about, it can also be a really serious topic, because at the end of the day, our aim, all of us, is the same. We want to get to our destination safely. I've had a few experiences with heat stress. The first time we went to Europe in 2019, I was packing for that, and my main concern was Norway, because we were planning to ride in Norway, and I feel the cold a lot. And so my bike jacket was an alpine jacket. And that means it was thick with no vents, designed to keep me really warm. And then Europe decided to have a 3-month heat wave. So it was really, really hot. I had a couple of moments where I was really affected by the heat. I remember a moment in Italy when we were riding along and Alan was saying something to me, and I couldn't even formulate the thoughts in my mind to reply to him, let alone open my mouth and speak those words. It was pretty bad. Thankfully, when we stopped, I was able to tell him what was going on and I could rehydrate. But yeah, that was my first really serious moment with heat stress. Last year, 2025, in Turkey, I had an extra complication. It was hot to begin with. Like, the days were about 35 degrees. And then I had some hot flushes and it felt like it was about 45 degrees. And I think that maybe my focus was already a bit dodgy before we left for the day, because I didn't fill my water bottle properly. So I ran out of water. It wasn't a great situation. By the time we got to our accommodation, which thankfully was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was a hotel, so it had aircon, thankfully, I was able to rest and rehydrate. But that was not fun. That really scared me a little bit. Alan was really worried. He was on the verge of calling an ambulance. I said no, because I thought, no, I just need to rest and rehydrate, and I think I'm going to be okay. And I was, thankfully. But I guess it's just demonstrating that you really do need to be careful, especially if you get hot flushes. All right, let's dive in with the logical first step, and that is your gear, what you're wearing on the bike. For your jacket, a summer jacket, or a mesh jacket. I have a mesh jacket, which I love. It gives me lots and lots of airflow. If you don't have a mesh jacket, or you feel like you would feel more comfortable with a little bit more protection than a mesh jacket, try and have a jacket, or choose a jacket when you're shopping, that has lots of vents in the chest, in the arms, in the back, even one where you can open the collar. Some jackets have a little hook, so you can hook open the collar so it stays open. I've found that that is a really great thing if you've got it. With pants, if they've got air vents, that is fantastic. That will help keep you cool. And also your helmet. We don't often think about our helmet, but if you can have a helmet that has a vent on the chin is not so important, but on the top, my LS2 helmet has a vent on the top of my head, and I really do notice when that's closed and when that's open in hot and really cold weather. It does make a difference. With gloves, obviously, if you've got thicker gloves, they can trap the heat and your hands will sweat. That's never pleasant and become a little bit slippery. So lightweight summer gloves are definitely the way to go. And for summer gloves, I always look for ones that give me great ventilation. The ones I've got at the moment has airflow that comes in at the knuckles, and they are also protective. They had the hard armor on the knuckles and on the heel of my hands. Your base layer, which is like basically your t-shirt, can be really important. T-shirts made of cotton are great normally, but when you are sweating a lot, they will soak up that sweat and they will generally stay pretty damp even when you're riding. So if you want an alternative to that, a top or a t-shirt that is made of a sports fabric is a great idea. That'll wick away the sweat more and it'll dry much more quickly than cotton. And it will also not be as stinky as cotton. Cotton t-shirts are great. I love them. I wear them, but they do become stinky after a while. Whereas a sports fabric top is less likely to do that. My second big tip is obviously hydration. We always carry water bottles with us, even on short rides, because you never know when you're going to be held up unexpectedly. And if it's a stinking hot day and you're in your gear and you're held up somewhere, cold water is going to be your friend. Which brings me to my next point, which is try to have cold water on the hot summer days, and even ice cubes if you can. Sometimes it's not possible, like when we're camping, you know, we don't have access to a fridge or a freezer. But if you do, cold water and ice cubes are the way to go. Another thing that you can do is pop some electrolytes in your water. Brand names for that, or the most common one that I know, is Hydrolytes. I think you can get them at the supermarket and pharmacies and things, but electrolytes will have things like sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, all those good things, and that will hydrate you and replenish you more than water alone. Alan and I do a little thing where he will have the electrolytes in his water bottle and mine will just be the plain water, and then we can choose whichever one we want in the moment. Sip a little bit and often if you can. So every time you're off the bike, before you get on the bike, when you take a break, when you're stopping for a coffee, just have some more water. And speaking of coffee, just be aware that coffee is what is it? I've forgotten the word. It dehydrates you basically. So when you have coffee, it will dehydrate you. And so in that instance, you might want to drink more water when you have a coffee. And the other reason that I am suggesting really strongly to you to drink water often is if you wait until you're thirsty, then you're kind of already behind the eight ball. You're already on your way to being dehydrated. So don't wait till you're thirsty. Just every break, every chance you get, have something. And just be aware of any sort of fatigue or brain fog that you might have, irritability. And let's be frank here, just keep an eye on how often you're peeing. Because if you've gone all day and you haven't gone to the toilet, you're dehydrated. So you need to drink a lot. My next tip for you is to take breaks before you feel tired and a bit wrecked. This is your way to stop that heat stress from building. And it will also keep your energy levels a bit more steady across your ride, across the day. So take breaks, take them a bit more often. We usually take breaks about every hour or so, but if it's really, really hot, we will stop a bit more often just to drink, just to stand in the shade, just to take a break. Even if it's only for 5 minutes, just take your helmet off, take your gloves off, drink some water, sit in the shade, just give your body a chance to cool down. My next tip for you is to avoid the hottest part of the day if you can. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can start earlier than usual. We usually on the road about 9 o'clock on a normal day, on a normal riding day. If it's really hot, we will get up earlier and we will hit the road like 7:30, The air will be cooler. Hopefully there'll be less traffic. But do be aware of, or more aware of, wildlife, especially in Australia. The kangaroos and the wildlife will be trying to avoid the heat the same as you, and they will likely be out and eating and grazing in that cool part of the day. So just be extra careful of wildlife. The other way that you can avoid the hottest part of the day is just to build in a long break in the middle of the day at lunchtime. Find some shade, have a leisurely lunch. Of course, hydrate, stretch, walk, all the usual things. There are no prizes for riding at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in 38 degrees. There's no need to do it unless you absolutely have to be somewhere by a certain time. If you've got the flexibility, and we always recommend building flexibility into your adventures and your rides, if you do have the flexibility, then take advantage of it. Find somewhere beautiful for lunch and just sit back and enjoy it for an hour or two. Another thing that we do when it's really super hot is we dunk ourselves in water. We find a tap somewhere and just drench ourselves in water, our shirts. I drench my hair under my helmet and then open the vent in my helmet, and then my head feels really cool when that wind is on the top of my wet hair. I know some people don't like that so much, but for me, it really helps. If you're wearing a buff around your neck, dunk it in water and put it around your neck. And as you're riding, that evaporative cooling will happen. You'll probably stay cool for about another 40 minutes or an hour or so. And that's probably a good time to take a break and rehydrate, drink some water, dunk yourself in water again. It's not glamorous, but it's a good way to keep cool. My last tip that I'm going to leave you with is, if you're riding with your friends, your riding buddies, keep an eye on them. Because the scary thing is that sometimes we don't realize ourselves when we are getting dehydrated and we're starting to get a bit of heat stress. It can really creep up on us before we realize what's happening. So keep an eye on your friends. Check in with how they're doing. Ask them how they're feeling. And just eyeball them. Do they seem their normal selves, or do they seem a little bit different, a little bit off, not their usual self? And look after them. So they are my top tips for staying cool on our hot summer roads. And I would love to know what your tips are. I'd love to know if there's something that you do that helps you keep cool. I'd love you to send me a message, send me an email. I'll put the links at the bottom of the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. I really would. If you're emailing me, I'm the one that sees all the emails and I'm the one that replies to you. It's just me. So I would love to hear from you. And if you found this episode useful, tap the subscribe button if you haven't already. If it's been really helpful, I'd love you to leave me a 5-star review. That would be amazing. And that will also help other female riders find this podcast. Podcast algorithms love that stuff. If you know someone who you think might enjoy this episode too, please feel free to share this episode with her. And I will see you next week.